Group process in a class setting. Brought to you by Education and Training Associates. Powered by Siena Education Services.
We're going to talk about group process in a class setting. We're going to start with the early stages. That has two parts to it. The first part is the honeymoon phase. This is where everyone is on their best behavior because they don't know anything. They don't even know where the bathroom is. They are scared and nervous. They're not sure what's going to happen. They totally lack confidence. That's the first stage. But that's quickly followed by the pecking order phase. This is the phase that I call, who's the boss? Well, the boss overall had better be you. But who's the boss within the group? Who's the leaders? Who's the brain? Who's the class clown? They all know that. Even as kids, you knew that. Do you remember they had reading groups? You remember reading groups when you were a kid? They had the blue group and the green group and the red group. Everybody knew that if you were in the red group, man, were you dumb. They knew it. I don't know why we did it. And everybody know they pointed at the blue group and said, what a bunch of brown-nosing brains. There's the middle stages, the counter-dependent stages, and the resolution stage. Let's talk about the early stages. In the early stages, the students have a high dependence on you. They have to rely on you for everything. They have a low confidence level. They don't have much of a trust level. They don't know each other, so they don't trust each other in the classroom, and they surely don't trust you because they don't know who you are or what you're like or what you're going to do. They're not very open. Click, click, click. They're not open. They don't share with each other or with you very readily. That stage, they are not themselves. They are not the people they will be. They have a low comfort level. They're not comfortable, and neither are you. They're hiding their behaviors. They're hiding their behaviors. They aren't who they will later on be. This leads to the honeymoon phase. Expectations get high. Oh, this is going to be a great career. Behaviors are still hidden. They're still not acting out for better or for worse. Their behaviors are still hidden. They still limit their interactions. Their group is not formed. It isn't a class. It's a bunch of individuals. Individual needs predominate. Everybody sits in that class and says, me, I, me, and I. They don't care about the one sitting next to them because they don't know the one sitting next to them. They don't have any deeper understanding of the other people in the class. They haven't heard them speak. Cliques will form. And when a clique forms, somebody's going to be left out. There will always be at least one student who doesn't make it into a group or into a friendship or into a relationship. Your only job, you can't change that. Your only job is to make sure that person is not ostracized and that there is a forced, if necessary, interaction in the classroom. They don't pick who they're teamed with. You do. By the way, outside of the class, you have no control over the clique. Only when they're in the classroom. Yes?
You know, it's funny as you say that, as I look around the room. We have electrical HVAC, one table, cosmetology together, medical, one lonely IT guy in the end, business, and medical sitting right here because there's not enough space at their table.
Well,
I just wanted to point that out.
of course. People gravitate toward people with similar interests or backgrounds or experience or something. They're looking to who can I or do I want to work with. Now, the response is by personality. Some students will be aggressive. You need to put a slam and a stop on that instantly. Any aggression toward another student or toward you gets dealt with severely right from the beginning. And when they see that there's none of that accepted in the classroom at all, they'll get the message. They'll still pick on that person out on break. You can't change that, but you can make sure it doesn't happen in the classroom. Other students will become passive. They will sort of withdraw, pull into themselves. They are by personality passive. Some will be passive aggressive. That's the one that goes, to everything. Or integrated. I like integrated students. I really do. Those who've gotten all of their stuff together over a period of whatever lifetime they've had, and they're all in the same place. Doesn't that, those students, if you know them, you see them, they are a whole person. They interact with others. They take care of themselves, but they have a sense of community. Love it. This is followed by the middle phase. Students are still dependent on you, but they're beginning to develop a little independence. They can do some things on their own. They have increased confidence. There is a level of trust between each other and with you. That's been established. The status and roles have been established. That pecking order stuff is in the past. There is increased openness. There's a higher comfort level. Everybody's more comfortable with each other. And here's the problem. For better or for worse, the behaviors become apparent. Those people who are really obnoxious, but were afraid to be obnoxious, will gain enough confidence to be obnoxious. So for better or for worse, the behaviors will come out. The next phase can happen so quickly you don't see it in some groups. But sometime it can happen also with individuals within a group. It's called the counter-dependent stage. This is where they get unrealistic confidence. Oh, I know it now. I don't need you. I can do that by myself. I'm okay. I know how to do that. I don't need your help. Well, not quite. You ain't quite there. They reject your authority. They say, I don't need a teacher. I can do this. By now you've goofed, like I just did, and called twice on Jessica. So now everybody knows that you have feet of clay. You, the idol, are no longer an idol. You've goofed. You're a person now. You are fallible. You have weaknesses. And they have different expectations of you. They don't want you to do so much leading. They want you to begin to guide them rather than lead them. Now, vocational educators do this very well. During the counter-dependent stage, we've got them in a lab or a clinic or in an internship or an externship where they wake up to what they know or don't know. And the teacher who was supervising the lab or the clinic or the salon or whatever is guiding rather than actively teaching. And that's what they want. They do want the chance to discover on their own what they can do and what they can't do. And then there's the resolution stage. And we all do this. We put our hands together and we pray for this stage to come early. As I said, it doesn't always come early. There is true student independence. They really are. They really can go to the clinic or the salon or wherever and do it. They can go out and wire something. They can go out and do a job. They can bend conduit. They know how to do what they're expected to do. They accept the fact that you taught them something. They do have a high trust level. They are very open at this point. Sometimes too open. Occasionally a student will be a TMIer. We all know that is too much information. I don't need to know that about you as your teacher. Now, how do you spot this stage? There's two ways that's easy to spot it. First way, creative risk-taking, where they go out and try their hand at doing something maybe a little differently. They might succeed, they might fail, but they're beginning to approach their field with creativity rather than rote. And the second way you can spot it is their professional behaviors. When they begin to talk like, act like, and work like a professional in the field. When they're out there and they're doing what is expected of them, then they're doing it pretty darn well. Now, back on the middle stages, I forgot to mention, middle stages is where you teach your brains out. Because in the counter-dependent stage, you're going to have to give them a little bit of space. They've got to be able to try and fail. And also in the resolution stage. What questions do you have for me now? Yes, Joe.
What do you do about brains out?
Huh?
You said the middle stage is where you teach your brains out.
In other words, that's where you do a lot of direct giving of information. That's where you give them information, you teach them the skills. In other words, this is heavy teacher hands-on time. Because the last two stages, you should be moving back. So this is heavy teacher hands-on. Lots of information and skill in those middle stages. You can't slam information at somebody in the beginning stage. They're not prepared to learn yet. But by the middle stage, they are. Good question. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.